Hello and welcome to today's training. Today we're going to learn how to correct some rejected interview folders due to the following error message from the rock: unable to locate so and so in legacy FDB file. Alright, so we're going to take a real example from KE04, who received a message recently of some interviews that were rejected by the ROC for some missing names or some names that are not that the ROC is not able to locate in their legacy file before processing them for payment. So we're gonna consider the following bullet point before we dive deep into our training. So first, when you receive an error message like this, you first of all need to read carefully the error message generated by the ROC in regard to your particular interview folder. Second, this is the second step. You need to open legacy file, like opened, as you can see on the screen. And you also open the metadata file, and you place both legacy and metadata file side by side to make the matching easier. Because what we're going to do, we're literally going to be matching information that's present in the metadata file and what we actually entered in the legacy file. And then in legacy, we're going to go to name list, and then we will search the first ancestor or the interviewee's name by their first or last name and compare. Okay, and then we're just going to double click on the right name and compare how we really spelled the name or how we positioned first or last name. All right, and notes, something important for you to notice is this video will help you not only correct interviews or folders that are rejected from the ROC, but it's to help you also verify all your folders before you even submit them. Do this kind of verification that I'm going to do with you in this video before submitting any folder to the ROC. This will help you avoid rejection and delaying payment and all that. You know, everybody want to get paid on time. All right, so we're gonna take for this video, we're just going to take an example of 3 interviews. This company actually submitted a lot of interviews. Some of them passed, some of them failed. We will pick these 3 that we're going to use as an example today. Okay, so this is the message from the ROC that reads: Dear Smax, this is to update you on the folders you recently sent to the ROC. These folders could not be processed for the following reasons. First, this is the name of the interview folder we got here. It says KE04001 2016-0103 at 7:14, unable to locate Kimoto Gonzo in legacy FDB file. So the first error here is this phone was not configured correctly. Okay, you need to make sure that all your phones are configured with the exact date and time according to your country's time zone. There is a separate video that you can watch that will help you see how to prepare a phone from the moment you unbox it to the configuration of date and time, and also how to configure the GPS and set up all the profile and so on. So there's a video on that, you can enjoy it separately. But here we're going to focus on finding out why the ROC people were not able to locate this man in the legacy file. Alright, so you can see there are the same error repeat itself on all the interviews on this submission. So we're going to take them one on one and see how we can correct it. So the message is clear. The first point said, read carefully the error message generated by the ROC. So we just read carefully the message generated. They're saying simply that Kimoto Gonzo cannot be located. Right? So what we're going to do here, we're going to go to the interview folder. The interview folder is right here. Okay, you see the name is exactly the same. We're gonna open the legacy file, and we're gonna place it on the left. Right, as I said, you place them side by side with the metadata file. So I guess you're all familiar with all these temporary files popping up from nowhere. When legacy is working, there are some temporary files opening in the background. You don't need to worry about them. Some will disappear by themselves when you close legacy. Some will have to delete them manually, or if you don't want to see them, Okay, so I just double clicked on the zip file. I'm not unzipping it. I just double click to see, okay, to view it. So I opened the metadata file. I'm going to place it. I'm going to reduce that one. I'm going to reduce this one as well. I'll put my metadata content right here, and this is my legacy, and this is an interview. So we are going to the third point. Say, after opening all this, we need to go to the name list and look for the first ancestors or the interviewee's name. But the message told us that a certain Kimoto Gonzo. This is actually the first ancestor. Who else did you think it was? It is the first ancestor, okay? His first name, as written in the mobile app, was Kimoto as first name, and the last name Gonzo. So what you were supposed to do in legacy was to simply enter Kimoto exactly as it's written here in the first name's place, and the Gonzo on the last name. Let's see what happened. So I'm not gonna look at here. I'm just gonna go directly to name list. Okay, so I clicked on name list. I'm looking for a person whose last name is Gonzo and whose first name is Kimoto. So I'm coming right here. I can even copy and paste if I don't want to make a mistake. Just come to the surname, which is the last name literally. I type in Gonzo. There is no Gonzo here. In all the last name the data entrant ever typed in this legacy file, there is nobody whose last name is Gonzo. Alright? That's, the rock is right. They didn't come up with some random errors. They're really right. So let's see if there is any person whose first name is Kimoto. Alright, so let's paste Kimoto right there. Oh, yes. It's actually the first person that was ever entered in this file. There's a Kimoto there. It says Kimoto Nzongo. Nzongo. Really? So, as you know, the very first name you enter in legacy, I advise people to start with the first ancestor's name. It's easier to type him first, so he will inherit the RIN number of 1. This will be useful to you in the future when we introduce you to the CAT, which stands for the Contractor Pre-Auditing Tool. You'll be referring to this RIN number 1. Okay, you'll be referring to the first ancestor's IRN number and the interviewee's IRN number to do your pre-audit. So it's always easier to keep that one for the first ancestor. It's not a problem if the first ancestor is not entered the first. It's not a scene, but it's easier to recognize him if he's having the IRN number of 1. Alright, so let's continue. So isn't this the first ancestor we're talking about? Because as I can look at this page, there is no other Kimoto except this person. And we've been looking earlier for a certain person whose last name was Gonzo, but we're seeing something here that says Nzongo. Maybe is the guy we're looking for, right? Let's double click in here and see. Okay, so Kimoto Nzongo. And he happens to be our first ancestor. Let us not be around the bush. This is the guy we're really looking for. So what is the mistake here? So the mistake is, first, even if Nzongo was the last name, it's not written at the right place. Okay? So the given name here is our first name. The given name or the first name is only reserved for the first name as written or specified in the metadata file. So what you have to do, please, data entrant, when you're beginning your data entry, open the metadata file and put it exactly like I'm putting them in front of me like this. The metadata on the right, the legacy file on the left. Before entering the first ancestor's name and the interviewee's name, do not refer to the oral genealogy file that comes from the field. The field agent might have written the name wrongly on that file, but he writes it the right way in the metadata file, meaning on the phone, on the application, because this is generated from the application, from whatever they entered in the phone before the interview, or at the end when they were entering information of the first ancestor. Okay, so first correction to make, remove that last name there, that thing that was supposed to be the last name. You put it in the surname down here. And you need to copy whatever was written in the metadata file. You place it there, so you write. Same thing with the first name. If I'm not sure if he wrote that Kimoto well, I'm just not trusting it. I'm just taking what is in the metadata file to make sure I'm on the right side. Alright? So that's how you're supposed to input the information of the first ancestor. Refer to whatever is written in the metadata file and transfer them in the legacy file. If you do that, this interview will be paid. Alright, so maybe you may be asking yourself the question to know, what if the real name of this first ancestor, the real last name, is Nzongo as it was written instead of Ngonzo? Right? If you have any doubt about that, you realize that it's written Ngonzo in the metadata file, but in the oral genealogy file, file that comes from the field agent wrote Nzongo. Well, it's simple. Just give a phone call to the manager, whoever is in charge of that field agent, find out is it Nzongo or Ngonzo. And if it's happen not to be what's written in the metadata file, well, that phone, the interview, you need to go back in the phone to change that and transfer and extract again. So you're not allowed really to edit the metadata file. If you really have to edit this file because the phone is left very far deep in the village, just send all this to your operations manager, Shadrach. He will be able to help you on this. Okay? But if it's correct that what was written in the metadata file is exact, you just need to copy exactly what you see on the first name, put it on the given name, and whatever you see in the last name, you put it in the surname, and you're good to go. Let me have a look at what's written in the. This is a bracket. This is within the bracket. Let's see the location. Let me tell you something. Okay, the rock may send your work back because you misspelled the first ancestor's name or the interviewee's name. Okay, but you need to know this. If I correct this interview the way I've just done, by writing Kimoto and Gonzo exactly the way I did, I only corrected one error. I'm not saying this is what's wrong with the rock, but the first error message the rock generates, it just kicks it to you and says, hey, correct that. That first ancestor's name cannot be located. But that might not be the only error in that interview. like what I'm seeing now. You are saying that Kimoro Ngonzo was born in Machakos, central Machakos, Kenya. I'm looking at 3 level of locations here. In the training we said locations needs to be represented by 4 level of location. So you need to be careful with that. So maybe you just generated this Machakos Central, Machakos Kenya. What is the 4th? Okay, so on this list there exist the first 3 levels of all the areas in Africa. You can see that all of them, whichever country it's maybe in, they've given you the first 3 level of the location. Your responsibility is to add that 4th level. The 4th level is the village or whatever comes before the 3rd level. Okay, so once again, I've corrected the first ancestor's name, but this interview is not correct because the location is only represented by 3 level. So to be correct, I don't know what village was that. Maybe I can cheat right here in the metadata file. Let me see. Where was this first ancestor born? Machakos Central, but where in Machakos Central? Let me see. They say there. The interviewee is from Kenya and is in Machakos region, Machakos town, Machakos. Well, maybe it's Machakos again. There's something missed. Did this person type this? Let me see. You're not supposed to tap this with your hands. I just want to make sure that I'm going to delete that and type Machakos Central. Is this right? After Kenya, what comes right after Kenya? Where is Machakos? You need to find out about that. What you need to do is you need to search the location by the third level location. The second and the first will appear automatically, and you will then add the 4th. So you work on that. I'm gonna consider that the first ancestor is corrected. I'll save that. Okay, but dear friend, before you leave this interview and say that all is well, you need to make sure that you verify as the interviewee as well. You can, like this, the wife of the first ancestor. This is not how you're supposed to write this. But even if you leave it like this for his wife and anybody else in this interview, your interview will still be paid as long, provided that the first ancestor and the interviewee's name have been written correctly. First name in his place, last name where it's supposed to be. Okay, let's look at the interviewee and see whether this name was written correctly. So the guy's first name is Musau, last name is Kivuva. So let's go in the name list and look for a person whose last name is Kiwa. Let me see. Whose last name is Kivuva. Alright, so I'm gonna write here and say Kivuva. The reason why you can't see any Kivuva here is simply because there is nowhere in this legacy file where you actually type a Kivula on a last name spot on any individual's information. But Musau is there, and you'll be surprised to see a certain Musau Kivuva, born in 1971. Alright, he's right there, and he's the only Musau Kivuva. Really? Maybe he's not the only one. Musau Kivuva. There is Musau Mutoka, Musau Mwake. So this is the only Musau Kivuva we have here. But if you try to go up there, I saw something. A certain kivuva on the first name. Let me see. Yeah, there is Kivuva Musau. So this person he died in 1999. So there's no way he's going to be our interviewee, because this interview took place in 2018, right? So let's go back to our man. His name is Musau. So Musau Kivuva, this person here, is actually our interviewee. We've been able to locate him by his first name, but let's see how it was written. Same mistake. Musau Kivuva. Kivuva is the last name. I'm not going to copy that. I'm coming from this file and copy Kivuva. Okay, Control C, and then I'll place it on the surname and delete that. I make sure that the first name Musau is also written exactly as the field agent typed it on the mobile application. All right. So we are good, but let me verify something. They say this person was born on EST 1971. Let me remind you about something very important. There is, to my understanding, there is no way you're going to estimate an interviewee's birth date, because he's in front of you. All right, he told you he's 79 years old. All you need to do before entering his date of birth in here is to take your calculator. This is what I'm gonna do. Okay, calculator. There we go. So this is what I'm gonna do. 2018, the day I met this person, Musau Kivuva, for an interview, minus 79, his age that he gave you. Can you see what I'm seeing? He was supposed to be born in 1939. If he's really 79 years old, this is his birth date, and it shouldn't be estimated. It should be real. You shouldn't be putting EST in front of the birthday of a person that you're looking in your face and he has told you that he's 79 years old. I don't know if I'm making any sense. This is where the mistake is coming from. It happens that when you're interviewing you're conducting the interview, you're not receiving a lot of real dates. They're just telling you, we don't. You need to know that you only estimate date from a known date. And when you're estimating all the rest of the dates in your interview from a known date, you need to make sure that in the field, the interviewer, meaning our field agent, was given some real dates, a couple of them, like 2, 3, 5 dates. And whenever the estimated dates of a person whose real date was given doesn't match, the estimated date doesn't match the real dates, you need to go with the real dates. Even if look at this, the differences of how many years? From 1971 to 1931. This is a lot of years. Please, I'm going to repeat this. We estimate dates based on a real date that is given, or based on a known date. We use a known date of one of the ancestor or one of the child to estimate the race of all the dates. But when in an interview, the field agent collected a couple of known dates given to him by the interviewee, including the age of the interviewee, he gave it to you. You need to consider the real dates as they were given, even if your estimation on them is different. If they are the same, don't write EST still. Write just 1971. If they are not the same, you do as I said, write the real one that was given. Okay? I hope we are good on that. So the mistake in here, if I can correct it, this is just a video, but you should say, if you don't know the month or the day he was born, you should say 1939. Well, if you do this, they're going to tell you, oh, maybe, you see, his age, oh, birth when parents too young, birth before parents marriage. Well, you're going to be able to, you'll have to deal with this correction, because just think about it. How will this interviewee feel when you bring him his booklet and you look at it, because he's not dead, he looks in the book and sees that he was born in 1971, and he tells you, hey, I'm 79 years old. How come I'm born in 1971? So this video is not about correcting all those errors. It's true, there's an error here. Legacy is telling you, if this person was really born in 1939, as you said, he's 79 years old, then you need to review the date of his parent. And this is something I want to tell you when it comes to estimating dates. When you're estimating dates, let me give you an example. You have in a family a person that was born, the interviewee actually gave you. You see, in this family of 70 or 100 names that I've given you, I know my birth dates because I'm the interviewee, and I also know the birth dates of my son, and I also know the birth date of my grandparents. So which date are you going to use to estimate the date of the first ancestor? Are you going to use the birth date of this interviewee's son, his birth date, or his grandparent birth date that he knows? Make sure that you always use the birth date that is closer to the first ancestor. So if I want to estimate the date of the birth or the death date of the first ancestor, I'm going to estimate from the known date closer to him. This will help you avoid such errors. Okay? I guess in the case of this interview, you did the estimation based on a date that were after even the birth of the interview. This is why this error is being generated. So if you follow that pattern, you won't be having such problems. So we corrected this person, and we found out about the date. You can correct that. I save, and then I'll close. So I noticed that in all the names you typed in this interview here, you combine both the first name and the last name in the same place. That's not correct. Okay? You need to put the last name in the surname and the first name in the given name separately. Okay? The interview will still be paid if all the rest of the names are written like that, but not the first ancestor and the interviewee. Thank you. We're gonna go to the second example. KE04004. This is a full agent number 004. 2018, good for the dates and so on. Unable to locate Movo Nolo in Legacy FDB file. Alright, let's go see which interview this is. I'm gonna close that one, and I'm gonna close this one as well. I'm gonna come here. I open the Legacy file first. I'm gonna place it on my left, and then I'm gonna take the alright, let me see. I'm gonna place it right there, and I'm gonna open the zip file and go inside. I'm looking for the metadata. I don't have money to buy WinRAR. It's free, right? Alright, so metadata JSON file here. As you can see, Movo is always the first ancestor. So when they tell you unable to locate such and such name, it's usually the first ancestor's name or the interviewee's name. Right, let's see what was written here. I'm gonna open this file. Ndolo Muvo, right? Is he the guy? I don't know. Alright, well, let's see in the name list. We're gonna look for a person whose last name is Ndolo. As simple as that. So Ndolo, right there, last name. We're gonna place it on the surname and look for any guy or any person whose name is Ndolo. Unfortunately, there's nobody called Ndolo. Well, maybe there's Ndolo here, but you didn't write Ndolo on any person's last name. Okay, I'm talking to Mr. Madame Eunice Maingi. This is the interviewer, right? So I'm talking about her or him. I'm not sure. Do you want to know if it's a she or a he? Well, let's look at his picture. A little quick just for fun. Oh, yes, she's the interviewer. Yeah, she did her job just fine. She wrote what you see here, but the data entrant just did not enter it the right way. So let's go back to our interview. Yeah, you could see Eunice taking a selfie, huh? That's great. So let's look at Ndolo on this side. What was the first name? Let me go back here. Oh, I should have closed the first one, right? Yeah, we're done with this one, okay? Let me close this one. Alright, so the first name here is, where is it? The first ancestor we're looking at, right? Muvu. Right, let me look at a man whose first name is Muvu. Muvu. Can't find him. Muvu. Did I write it right? Let me look at Ndolo here. Ndolo. Oh, there's Ndolo here. There is Ndolo Muvu. This guy. There's another guy here. There are actually two. Well, this one is alive. There's no way he's going to be the first ancestor. Well, I'm seeing a RIN of 1 here next to Ndolo Muvu. Is he not our first ancestor? Born in 1911 and died in 1956? Maybe it's the one. And what happened to his name? Well, same error. The name was written, the first name and the last name was written in the same spot, in the given name spot. So what we're going to do, we're going to move. What are we moving? Be careful. Muvu is actually the first name. Wow. We always refer to this here. Copy. I remove all that. Don't care whatever was written. And I come here to Ndolo as the last name. And then I'm going to place it right there. Alright. So we are good. But as I told you, I've only corrected the name of the first ancestor, but the locations are a mess. Look, Masi. Oh, where is that? And here, I mean, I don't need to say much. This needs to be corrected. Where was this person born? Well, should be in Kenya. Where? In what region? What territory? Or what sublocation? So you, in case of Kenya, you need the country, the region, the sublocation. Is that how you call it? Sub-county? Oh yeah, the county. Yes. You need the country, the county, the sub-county, and then you move on, right? So what county or sub-county was this person born in? You need to correct that. You need to look. Okay, I can take an example. If I type Nairobi, okay, so Nairobi this is the county and this is the sub-county at the same time, and all I need to do, just add the fourth level location in front of Nairobi I don't know if you were in a classroom. I was going to ask you, give me a name. Okay, I'm just going to say, let's say there's a place in Nairobi called maybe Upper Hill. Is that how you write it? I'm not sure. Upper Hill, and then whatever, comma, space. That's how you're supposed to do it. Makwini, maybe there's a place called Makwini as a sub-county, but you need a 4th level location. Okay, so I'll give you a familiar example. For me, I was born in a place called Mosango, but Mosango is located in a territory called Masimanimba, which is a 3rd level location for my country. I'm going to type Masimanimba. You see, it appears by itself. Kwilu is the province, DRC is the country, and then I'll come in front of Masimanimba and I type Mosango, comma, space. You need to do this for all the names. The toughest part of this is whenever the rock catches such an error, it's not going to affect. It's not only about the first ancestor or the interviewee. This is for everybody's name should be attached. Should be connected to a place of birth and a place and a death place, and they should all have 4 level locations. You need to do that for everybody. So for this case, I'll say he was born where I was born. Okay, and then you see here you need to correct. For the burial, we said if the interviewee didn't give you any information about the burial, you don't need to worry about it. Okay, so if he gave you the exact date, you put it. Don't estimate it. All right. So I'm gonna save it. All right. So we corrected the first ancestor right here. As I told you, you see changed Muvundolo, starting by the last name and so on. So we come down here and. We see one thing confirmed that this person is the first ancestor. There is no parent up there. He's got kids down here. So also verify when you finish the first ancestor. Always check the interviewer as well, just in case his name was not written well as well. So I'll come down here. The interview or in the interviewee is called Peter Muli. So I'm gonna go to name list. I'm gonna look for a person whose last name is Muli. Well, if you did the same mistake, unfortunately, I'm not gonna find any Muli here. Okay? Well, I'll come here and look for. You see, let me just give you an example of Ndolo. I found Ndolo because I corrected it. Whenever you're typing the last name of the first ancestor, you're supposed to find them. If you don't find them, it means you didn't write it well. Okay, or you didn't put the last name in the right spot. So I'm gonna. Muli is not there, you saw. Let me look for Peter in the first name. Well, there's a Peter Muli right there. He was born in 1957. He happens to be our interviewee because guess what? He's 61. Somebody who was born in 1957 today is 61. Congratulations on that. You got this right. Alright. Are you doubting that? Let me take my calculator. I'll show you that this is really the interviewee. Okay. 2018 minus what? Minus 61 equals 1957, which is exactly the birth year of our interviewee. So what is astonishing me is, look at this. You're right, you didn't estimate this because it was given unto you by the interviewee. You did good on that. Well, maybe this 61 is from some village and he doesn't know his exact birthday, okay, the day and the month. He only knows the year, and he told you that it's 1957 and 61. That's correct. You can write it like that. It's not a sin, but you sinned big time in the area. Yeah, I'm just, you said my seed. Where is my seed? Please. Is it in Congo, in Kenya, where? Is it in Machakos? Well, I'll type Machakos. Now, Machakos, Eastern Kenya. This is how it's supposed to be. And then maybe you'll type that Masi. How do you spell that? Like that, comma, space. You see, that's exactly how you do. You look for the third level location, which will generate the second and the first automatically, and then you insert the name of the fourth, which can be a village or a sub-county or whatever location the interviewee gives you. And then I save it. We're good on that one. But I'll look on his wife, Anna Kavindu. Why is his birth date estimated? You know? Well, you just interviewed her husband. Are you sure he doesn't know his wife's date? You know, I'm not saying that maybe he didn't know. My worry is when you take the booklet back to these people, his wife look at this date. Will she? Oh, she died in 1997. And you estimated that? Well, maybe you're right, but my once again, my worry is why estimate the birth date of a wife whose husband you're interviewing? You should know, right? I'm just asking. Well, if he didn't know, well, you did well by estimating. Well, and here it says Mboni, what's this? Where is this? Once again, correcting it. Let's say he was born in Machakos. Still, you need to look for Machakos first. Alright? Machakos, Eastern Kenya. Okay? What else? Let me take another location here. Bungoma. I can say is Bungoma even a place? Yeah, Bungoma, Western Kenya. That's how you look for these locations, okay? Well, I'm not saying he was born in Bungoma. I don't even know where this Mboni is. Okay? Comma, space. Don't write like this. You may correct the name of this lady. You correct it correctly, but the location, if it stays like that, there's no way this interview is going to be paid, please. Okay? I'm going to save that. Alright, so we have corrected. Oh, are we done with the Peter? No, not yet. Let me see. No, we're not done. Look, Muli is the last name, Peter is the first name. Just separate them. Put Muli where it's supposed to be on the surname, and you save it. The location is fine, the date is fine, all is well. Everybody's happy. Okay? So that's how you correct such errors. So I'm going to close that and go to I'm going to go to the third interview. Let's read carefully, just as the instruction says. KE04013, that's the ID of the field agent. The date is correct. In 2018, the 10th of August, 11:05. Unable to locate Maingi Ndyoko in Legacy of DB file. Alright, thank you. Alright, so let's correct this last one and we're gonna say bye to each other. I'm gonna open there, open the Legacy file. I'm gonna place it right there, just as we did. Alright, put it right there. And I'm gonna take the metadata file right here. I'm gonna double click in there and open here. Oops, still using the free version. Well, it's free. It's nice, right? So metadata. So here we are. We're looking for the first ancestor. I told you, you can guess. Whoever's name is now written well should always be the first ancestor, or the interviewee's name. So we got Ndyoko Maingi. First name Maingi. Right there. Last name Ndyoko. What should we do now? You know, you go to the Legacy file. Don't worry. Can you see him yet? No, we can't see him. Maybe it's the one. You never know. Well, let's look for anybody whose name is Njioka. Alright, so I'm going to go to name list. Okay, so I'm going to type but wait a second. Let's search first, okay? Njioka. I found something, I want to mention it, but let's look for Njioka first. Can you see any Njioka here? There's no any Njioka, okay? So, well, what is his other name? Njioka is the last name, right? We can see him. It means nobody wrote any Njioka anywhere. So Maingi is the first name. Let's look for Maingi. Maingi. I hope I'm pronouncing this well, hey? So we have Maingi Kilonzo, Maingi Muniao, Maingi Ntuka, Maingi Njoko. Well, Maingi Njoko happened to be alive. He was born in EST 1938. So let's make sure first is the only Maingi we're talking about. Alright? And let me look at this again and make sure this is actually the first ancestor we're looking at. First ancestor, first name Maingi, last name Njioka. And we searched Njioka there, we didn't find any Njioka. Let me look for Njioka here. Just to make sure we're on the right side, okay? We're talking about the right person. Njioka. Well, there are some Njioka here. There is Njioka Muteti, Njioka. Well, this one was born in 1990. It's very young. Njioka what? And there is Njoki. So there is only one Njioka descendant even. So I think the Njioka we were looking at up there is actually our first ancestor, the person we're talking about. What was his last name again? I mean his first name again? I can't remember that. Let's look. Maingi. Alright, so I'm going to type Maingi here. There is Maingi Njioka. So this is our first ancestor, literally, according to what we've been told. But how can he be a first ancestor if he has parents that are linked to him? This guy has parents. His father is called Muli Kyangu, and his mother is called Nzilani Muli. Why is he the first ancestor? Okay. Literally, Muli. Let me click on Muli Kyangu. Wow, there's nobody up there, so he's the first. He's supposed to be the first ancestor. And if you're supposed to be the first ancestor, his name is not written well. So I'm just gonna correct it and pass. The area, bad. What is the fourth level? Need to correct. So let me come back to the person we're looking for. So he's there. They say it is the first ancestor. Okay, I don't have a problem with that. I'm just suggesting that he shouldn't be, because we actually know somebody who gave birth to him. So here we are. The first ancestor. Well, as I said before, whenever you're feeling the first ancestor's name and the interviewee's name in legacy, do not refer to whatever is written in the interviewee, the oral genealogy file that the field agent bring to you. Go to your legacy file, read from there, and type his name as the first person you enter. But where is this Kyangu coming from? Well, it's easy. Look, Muli Kyangu is his father, and when you added a son to this person, Kyangu was generated automatically in the surname spot. But remember, whenever this is generated, you need to make sure it's also the son's real surname. If it's not what was given, you can just delete it. Put Njioka. Is Njioka? Yes. You put Maingi, you put Njioka there. This is this guy's name, how it's supposed to be written. Okay? Maingi, Njioka in the surname. Maingi in the given name. Just as it's written in the metadata file. I'm just copying exactly what's written there. So this is what will happen here. If you correct it like this and submit it, it will pass for payment, because That's what metadata file says. But in reality, it's not really the first ancestor. Just underline that part. The area again, Machacos. Where in Machacos? They say there is a sub-county called Machacos. Just write it, Machacos, comma, space. Then that's fine. So I'm going to save this. I told you before, after correcting the first ancestor, make sure you also check on the interviewee just in case you didn't type it well. Okay? Paul Malembe, the interviewer, did his job. Maybe he's waiting for some payment. We're busy correcting here. Okay? So he should be waiting. He should wait. Just a little bit. Alright, so the interviewee is called Rebecca. The last name is Kilonzo. So what we're going to do, we're going to go to name list. We're going to look for somebody whose last name is Kilonzo. Are we going to find them or her? I don't know. Let's see. Kilonzo. Unfortunately, we can't find that. Let's look at Rebecca. Rebecca. There we are. Rebecca Kilonzo. There is only one Rebecca here, and it happens that he's also a Kilonzo. So literally, is he our interviewee? And he died in 2009? Come on. Maybe we're looking at the wrong person. Well, there is only one Rebecca here. Am I right? Are we reading the same thing? Yeah. His first name is Rebecca. His last name is Kilonzo. And he happens to be IRN 54. Is a lady. Let me open it. Kilonzo. Well, what if he was alive? She. Oh, no, this is the father. What am I doing? Let me go back to name list. Looking for a lady whose first name is Rebecca. There she is. I double click on her. Oh, is the wife of Kilonzo Maingi. So this is a person that was interviewed? Well, yes, he is. Why he died in 2009? Tell me how this interview happened. Did you phone call? I'm just wondering. Did you call her from the other side of the veil? I mean, this interview needs to be corrected. And the person who was interviewed, his age is 72 this year. And his name, let me put this big. Birthplace, country, Kenya. The clan is Emunda, first name is Rebecca, last name is Kilonzo. So as far as I know, this is the interviewee, right? And this is the interviewer, right? And that's the first ancestor. So, dear data entrant, I don't know if the mistake is coming from where. I'm not sure it's coming from the field. It should be coming from you, because the field agent say the person is 73 years old right now, and you killed her in 2009, and I don't know how the interview was recorded if he died here. 73 years old. Let's see if 1946 is exact. Let me just drive us to the safest side here. So let me say 2018 minus 1946. 72. Yes, this is the person we're talking about. Yeah, 72 years old is his age, her age, Rebecca, and she's alive. Please, we need to resurrect her. This is how you can correct it. She's not dead. Maybe you mean she died after the interview, but she was not in 2009. So this is how this one's supposed to be. The only thing missing, maybe Masakosh Subkanti. Machakos. So such errors, please don't expect the rock people to correct it for you. They don't want to change your data. That's why they're returning it to us. Such mistakes, you telling him that the interviewee died in 2009, how do you want them to correct it? They can always send it back. So I correct the name. I brought her back to life because I have that power. He's alive. She's alive. And she's 72, and she was interviewed. Okay, save. Yeah, right. Maybe your husband died. I don't know. Maybe you did also a mistake in there. I'm not sure. So I'm gonna close this. So this is pretty much how you correct. So from this video, we outlined a lot of errors that we didn't even plan to discuss. So we were able to carefully read the error messages generated by the rock in regards to your particular interview folder. We opened the legacy file, we opened the metadata file, we placed both legacy and the metadata files side by side to make the matching easier, just like that. And in the legacy, we went to name list and we searched the first ancestor or interviewee's name by their first and last name. We double click on the file name and verify how we spelt it in legacy. And last, we underline that you need to do these verifications before submitting all your folders to the rock. Very, very important. Imagine if this verification was done before submitting this. We will be talking about some cache here, not about some correction. All right. So thank you so much for the time you have spent watching this video. I hope to see you in the near future. Have a great time out there. Bye bye.